going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and over this past weekend, I sat down to play the Doom multiplayer beta and absolutely wrecked some fools. That's the gameplay you guys are watching here. And I wanted to take a moment to sit down and talk about some of my impressions and takeaways from playing the open beta. Truth be told, it's not my first time playing the new Doom multiplayer, because a couple months ago I had the opportunity to play in the closed alpha. Yeah, that's alpha. And I was under an NDA, so I couldn't really talk about it. And then about a month or so ago, I got to play the closed beta. And then now for the third time in the open beta. And each time I've played it, I've seen some things change for the better and some for the not so much better. So first and foremost, I gotta say the Doom multiplayer felt really good. I really enjoyed it. The gameplay itself is fun, it's fast-paced, and it really brought back old feelings of the old arena shooters. And I feel like that's one of the things that they're trying to go for here. I remember just thinking as I'm playing this game, just getting those old feelings of when I used to play the original Halo and Halo 2 multiplayer. And that's awesome. I feel like this is accomplished in a couple different ways. First, you don't aim down sights, it's all hip firing, and that's a little bit of a change from a lot of modern first-person shooters, a la Call of Duty, Battlefield. Also, it's relatively small maps, and there's no sprinting, which is a staple in modern first-person shooters, but you still move pretty fast. As you can see here in the gameplay, you still go, so there's no need to sprint. And lastly, you don't regenerate health, which is another staple in most modern first-person shooters. And the way it works is there's health, ammo, and shields scattered all throughout the map, and this encourages you to always be on the move, because after you get into an encounter and you take down the other enemy, your health isn't going to regenerate, so you have to get your health and shields back up, so you got to go around and collect those things. So you're encouraged to always be on the move, and it plays into the strategy of the shooter, and I really like that. That way you don't have to deal with campers. No one's camping, because those campers are just going to get destroyed because they're not regenerating their health. So this is a really awesome aspect, and I like that. However, and this is the big however, I feel like this multiplayer has an issue with what it's trying to do. What is it trying to accomplish, and really answering the question, who is this for? Because I feel like the multiplayer suffers from an identity crisis. Now, let me elaborate that on just for a moment here, because the Doom multiplayer borrows elements from other shooters, which I know a lot of shooter games do, but the elements that this multiplayer combines just don't really feel like they fit together. I feel like this game borrows elements from the old Quake games, which is kind of where it gets some of its arena shooter roots. It also borrows elements from Halo and Call of Duty. Now, I touched on some of those elements that it borrows from Quake, because it feels like that it's got that arena shooter feeling, and I never really played a lot of Quake back in the day, so that's why I'm going to compare this game to some of the older Halos and that type of arena style shooter. But you can definitely see that influence if you've seen some Quake gameplay in some of those older original multiplayer shooters. Now, things this game borrows from Halo, again, I've touched on some of those with the way it feels in terms of gameplay, but also the announcer. The game's announcer almost feels like it's trying way too hard to be the Halo announcer. I feel like the announcer in the Halo multiplayer games is a staple and signature for Halo. The way the guy says, you know, Slayer, or double kill, or triple kill, just all of those is just such a signature of the Halo series. And this guy, whoever they have, and I can't put my finger on it, it just feels forced. And it feels like they are trying way too hard to imitate Halo. Another item that they're borrowing from Halo is the armor customization. So within this game, you can customize your character and your Marine's armor. So you can unlock different armor sets, your helmet, left, right arm, your torso, and your legs. And you can also change the colors and patterns on those. There's a primary and secondary color, and there's all kinds of different patterns in which you can unlock and choose from to really customize your character. And this, to me, feels and looks like an absolute blatant ripoff from Halo 4, I think, is the closest example, even though I know some of the other Halos do that as well, but it's just, it doesn't seem to fit in this game. I don't know why it's here. When I played the closed alpha, it wasn't there, and it felt fine. I liked it. It was good. And then when I played we transitioned to the beta, all of a sudden there was all this customization options, and I'm just thinking to myself, what is this? Why is this here? It doesn't fit, and it just feel like, again, it feels tacked on. It doesn't fit within the Doom universe. So I also mentioned that this game borrows elements from Call of Duty, and some of them I'm okay with, and some of them I'm not so okay with. To start off, you earn experience. That's Call of Duty pretty much modernized that in first-person shooters, the way you earn experience, unlock things. And in this game, you do that. It's not a big deal. It's fine. I know a lot of people enjoy gaining experience and kind of grinding and working towards leveling up in multiplayer, so that's fine. It's not a big deal. But there's also Create a Class. And the Create a Class is fine. It's not a big deal, but I feel like it only works when there's weapon balance within the game. Now, when I played the closed beta, everyone was using the rocket launchers, and if you weren't using the rocket launcher, you were going to get wrecked. So, transitioning to the open beta, I could tell that the weapons had changed and they did some rebalancing because players were using all kinds of weapons, and that's the way it should be. And so, if it maintains that balance, I'm fine with Create a Class. However, I feel like the game would be much better off if they did it like a true arena-style multiplayer shooter, to where everyone starts with the same weapons, and then there are power weapons scattered throughout the map and in random locations where they spawn. To me, that would just be way more fun, and I really hope they have a game mode where they can do that, because that would be superb and really make the multiplayer shine. There's also taunts within this game, which is another item that I just feel like, why is this in the game? It doesn't fit. It feels tacked on. And you can also customize your weapon camos, which is very reminiscent of Black Ops 3's paint shop. And that's fine. It's a lot of people love customizations. They love creating their own camos. I'm 100% okay with this. But again, it just feels tacked on. Now, overall, I like the Doom multiplayer, and I like what they're trying to do. The gameplay itself is fantastic, and I thought it was really fun, and I'm excited to play more. How much longevity this game has, I really don't know. I don't see it taking off in the first-person shooter multiplayer space. But with some of the creator tools that they're going to give players and some of that user-generated content, I think that will definitely add some longevity to this game. But on the other side of that is this conflict of that old school arena shooter and incorporating so many different modern elements of other first-person shooters. And this is where I feel like the game struggles to self-identify. And it makes me ask the question, who is this game for? Because I feel like they're trying to bring back that gameplay and appeal to some of those older arena-style shooter players. And they're trying to draw that younger, new multiplayer crowd that enjoy a lot of modern first-person shooters. So I don't know who this multiplayer is for. And so there you guys have it. Those are my first impressions of the Doom multiplayer beta. We all know that the signature of the Doom game is going to be the single-player campaign, which I cannot wait for. Based on the gameplay and the multiplayer, it's going to be awesome. So that's the main reason to buy the game. The multiplayer is just some fun to have afterwards. So let me know what you guys think about the Doom multiplayer, this gameplay, down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online.
Yeah, now come up, it's 80 you now if you with me, put your hands up. On the fly, ladies, to the front, go ahead and stand.